So my name is Ian Mutchnick. I'm a pediatric neurosurgeon. I work at Norton Children's Hospital. And when I was a junior resident, actually, at the University of Louisville Hospital, I met Mr. Hornback. He was in a pretty serious accident. He had a pretty serious injury. When you have to take off a big piece of someone's skull in order to give their brain room to swell, it's a pretty bad injury. Early on, it looked pretty serious, and it's surprisingly hard to gauge. People think that CTs and MRIs show us the answer. They can show us an answer, and they can be very helpful. It's actually the case that about 20% of people with the same problem Zach had back in the day before CT got an operation on the wrong side of their head. It's called a false localization. So CTs are helpful, don't get me wrong. We've gotten rid of that problem. But they don't tell us a lot about the brain. There are 86 billion neurons, and you get 20 slices of brain on an MRI. It's just not as much information as you think. So he had a really tremendous recovery. I would definitely say that his mom's dedication and refusal to necessarily believe all the bad news at first was a big part of that. But in the end, I would describe it as, we see a bad neurologic injury, but in kids, in young adults, there's a tremendous capacity to recover, and he did, which is a really good thing to see. I knew how well he turned out a couple of years ago, so I'm a little less surprised right now than I would have otherwise been. But I definitely was surprised when I bumped into him in a brain injury meeting several years ago, and was really pleased at the outcome. I was on the same team as Dr. Dwayne Densler, who's actually a neurosurgeon at Audubon now, and what was the name of Patrick Hahn was the attending, and he's long gone. I think last I heard he was in Oklahoma. So it's always nice to see things turn out well. It gives you a little bit of hope, because sometimes the acute trauma can be a little disheartening, I'll be quite honest. See a lot of wreckage, so it's nice to see how much someone can recover.